Hey DIYers, I put a video out on new houses being built around me that showed some bad things and a few good things that were going into them and how they were being built. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I do a couple videos on what to look for, what to ask for, what to maybe get an upgrade on if you want to build a new house. So this is going to be a 4, maybe a 5-part series. We're going to cover everything from the different types of new homes, clear up to the landscaping. And the hope is that when we're all done with this, you'll have a clearer idea of what goes into a new home, what to look for in your new home, and maybe some things you want in your new home. Now this first video in this series, we're going to talk about different types of new homes, different aspects about builders, the warranty, and then we're going to finish up on the foundation and things you want to look for and ask about in your foundation for your new home. So let's start with what I'm going to say are 3 types of new homes. There's your fully custom built home in which you get to choose everything in it, which becomes quite expensive quite quickly, which most of us can't do. That's for the rich and famous. There's semi-custom where you get to choose some things and some things you don't. And then there's pre-built brand new homes, which is what I'm standing in here. And what a pre-built brand new home is basically in my area, we have big developers like Pulte and Beazer and D.R. Horton and all these that make homes, brand new homes. And they come in and like where I'm at in Texas, they do everything around here in subdivisions. So they come in and build a boatload of homes in a subdivision. They're brand new, nobody's lived in them. You come and look at them and go, oh, that's neat, got a new home, I'll buy it. But you might get to customize a few things. And so that's what we're going to focus on is pre-built new homes and the semi-custom homes. Now, granted, some of these things you're going to ask about or ask for or upgrades are definitely going to cost more. Some of them might already be built into the package that you're getting. So with like these pre-built brand new homes here, I don't know how much customization there really is and how much say you get in it. You probably get more if you come around when it's just being built, just getting started at the foundation. Maybe you get a little more say, but once it's built, you're done. You don't get any say. And what they do here is they have anywhere from 4, 5, 6, 7 different floor plans, single story, 2-story, 2-bedroom, 4-bedroom, different varieties, and they just mix and match them throughout the subdivision. You go through and pick what you want. But now again, if you get in before they start building, some of these you can choose a different kitchen or a different master bath layout and things like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a lot more. Better construction options is what I'm going to be talking about. Not do I get a bathroom tub over here or do I get it over here? That's not what I'm going to get at. And with these pre-built new homes, you don't get to choose your builder. It's whoever built the homes, that's who you get. Now with a semi-custom home, you kind of get to choose your builder. And with those guys, they might have, half a dozen or so floor plans that they build and you can choose from. Maybe you can even bring your own floor plan in and they'll build it for you and you don't have to choose one of those. It's all different. And it'll just depend on each builder as to what you get to do. Now keep in mind, there's going to be great differences between where I'm at here down in the southern Texas area and where you might be in the way northern states where it's cold, it gets snow and ice and all that kind of stuff. In case you didn't know, they break up the United States and Canada and maybe all the world, I don't really know, into climate zones. And what does that mean? Basically, they divide up the area based on your climate. So I'm down here in climate zone 1, which is just hot. So what we do down here in climate zone 1 is going to be way different than what they do in climate zones 5, 6. And the code for that is going to be different too. So keep that in mind. And believe me, I am not a builder. I am not an expert on the code and I'm not an expert on the different climate zones. I'm just a DIY person like you are, trying to do a good job on your house. And I'm trying to inform you, if you want to build a new house, some things to get that'll make your house a better home. I mean, after all, you don't necessarily have to settle. So first, let's talk about builders. What do you do if you can't choose your builder? Like I'm in this subdivision here, you get the builder that's building them, and that's all you get. Come around like I am during the pre-construction phase. Take a look around, see what kind of quality work they're doing. And I'll show you some things to look for in case you don't know. And see, are they doing a good job? If so, okay, I'll stick with this builder. If not, move on to another one. As I showed in that video before where I did the walk around through this builder's homes and another builder's homes, there's a grave difference between them and the price ranges are pretty close to the same. Say the builder built a subdivision, 2 miles away. Maybe go around to some of those and ask the neighbors, hey, so you got a nice house. How long you lived here? You lived here since it was built? How do you like it? What'd you like? What'd you not like? The builder do a good job, not do a good job? Those sorts of things, These houses come with a warranty. It's going to vary. I think the warranty on these is 1 year, and after 1 year, it's all yours. So you got to find everything before that 1 year. I'm here to tell you, some of these things that I found before, you won't find in that year. It'll be years down the road when you find it and it's too late and they really don't care. Some other things to maybe ask the builder before you sign on to buy one of their houses is, how many different subs do they use? And what do I mean is, do they have 6 different crews doing the framing, or is it one crew that does all the framing? Because it makes a difference, because the framing in one house can be done by one crew that's doing a really good job. You go to the next house, it's a different crew, and they don't care. They're just slamming it together to get the in and get out and be done. So ask that. Again, the same thing goes with like plumbing crews, electrical, HVAC. Different, one sub does all of them. They got multiple different subs. They do have multiple different subs. See if you can figure, see if you can ask, well, which subs built which houses, so I can go look at them and see how I like it. They may or may not let you. They may say, tough, buy it or don't buy it. You got to choose. Do you want to buy it or do you move on? It's up to you. So let's say you can choose your builder. What do you look for? A lot of it's going to come down to personality and how you guys interact. Do you like him? Do you not like him? Again, look at what they got currently being built. Say, hey, you got a house you're building right now, and go take a look at it. If they're not going to let you look at their houses, just move on. Are you the general contractor and you have just one set of subs that does it all? Or are you like these big builders I got here that have multiple different subs that do stuff? And again, same thing. If they just have one, great. You go look at 1 or 2 houses, see how they're doing a good job. Okay, great. Find some houses already been built. Go ask the new owners. Preferably some that have been in there at least 6 months, maybe to a year, because that way they get a feel for things that are going to go wrong. Ask them how they like the house. Is it well built? You had any issues? How's the warranty? Did they come and fix the things you wanted fixed? Were they good about it, or did they delay you? Did they put you off? Things like that, just common things. And if they pass through all those hoops that you're asking, great, maybe you found the builder for you. Some other questions you want to ask, whether you get to choose a builder or not, is completion time. So once you start, how long to completion? Like I'm gonna show you a house out this window here that 2-3 weeks ago was dirt, and you're gonna be surprised. It's already built. It's got siding on, it's got a roof on. They're working on the interior. So like in these, they go fast. They build them fast because time is money. Whereas the semi-custom, it may take 3 times longer. It just depends. How backed out are they? Like in these guys here, obviously you're in a new home that's being built, so they're not backed out at all. Whereas the semi-custom home, he might be a year out before you can even get to your house. You need to know that. Is it going to be a year before he gets started? And once he gets started, how long is it going to take to get done? And then the other important thing you want to ask is, how much is kept back at the end of the build? So when you move in, sometimes they'll keep back 10% until the warranty's over, and then they get the other 10%. Sometimes they don't, so ask that. You don't want somebody getting paid the full amount when they still got interior work to do. One final thing to ask the builder that you're choosing is, what kind of warranty is it? Is it a 1 year? Is it a 2 year? Is it a 6 month? No warranty. Tailgate warranty, as they call it. And what that means is when you don't see the tailgate anymore, the warranty's gone. Definitely don't want that. But one thing you want to ask, regardless whether you get to pick the builder or not, is what kind of changes do you get to make? Like I said, in these houses here, you might get to only change the layout of the kitchen and the master bath. But you might get to change some other things. Granted, there'll be additional cost. Know that. It's not going to be included. And if it's worth the price, maybe you want to do it. Or they may say, this is it. You take it how it is, and you get nothing. And if that's okay with you, then go ahead and buy it. If it's not, then move on and get something else. So you want to know, what can you change? What can you upgrade? Fixtures and stuff are you putting in? So like in these homes here, they put what they call contractor grade, which is going to usually be your low bottom of the barrel kind of stuff. They don't put a lot of flashy things in these because they're in to make the big money profit and move on. And one other thing you want to ask, especially in these pre-built brand new homes, is if you're buying it at the pre-construction phase, meaning you've picked the lot and now they're building, how often can you tour the job site? Can I tour it when they're making the foundation? Can I tour it when they're doing the framing? Or can I not tour it at all and I have to show up on a Sunday like I am here when there's nobody around, sneak around and look at my house and see how it's being done? Those are things to know. Now, I assume on a semi-custom home, you're going to get to tour it as much as you want and ask questions and talk with the builder. But one thing, don't bug them, irritate them, because the cost will go up if you do that. They'll find ways to put that PIA fee in there. Pain in the ass. Try not to bug them and irritate them. But at least go around and see how it's doing. It's always exciting to see how stuff's built anyway and see your new home being built. But don't look at it as, oh, wow, I got a new home. Look at it as in, how are they doing? Is that 2x4 straight? Is it crooked? Did they put 3 pieces in a wall that should have just been 1 piece? Those sorts of things. And if you find those, ask them, hey, can we fix this? This is what I'm getting. Be nice about it, because, sometimes stuff just happens out of your control and you go, oh, crap, yeah, we'll fix that. All right, you picked the lot you want to put your house on. You're all excited. You get in the basement, like where I'm at here in Texas. We don't have basements. It's just slab on grade, meaning concrete's poured on the ground. But maybe in the northern climates, a lot of people up there get basements. I mean, where I'm originally from in the Midwest, we had a basement. It's nice. So what do you want to know about a basement? Well, how high is the finished height? Is it an 8 foot, 9 foot, maybe a 10 foot? I think standard's probably going to be about 8 foot. That's okay, great. Definitely in the northern climates, you're going to want insulation. In fact, it's probably code. And there's a code, I'm sure, as to how much it has to be. And you need to ask what that is. Is that enough? Do you want more? Is it R19? You want 23? What is it? And you want to know where the insulation is going to be. Is it going to be on the outside of your basement after it's poured? Is it going to be on the inside of the wall after it's poured? Or is the insulation going to be within the wall and it's an insulated wall? And if they're not putting any, ask why. Because you're definitely going to have a living space down there. You're going to want it insulated. The other thing you're going to know is your vapor barrier, like for the floor. Like here, some foundations I'm going to show you, they're just using thick plastic as the vapor barrier. Are they going to use plastic on yours for your basement floor? Or better yet, to be spray foam. Ask if they'll use closed cell spray foam. You get two things. You get it insulated and you get a vapor barrier with closed cell, not open, closed cell. You know, granted, if they're not and they'll do it, definitely need to ask how much more is it? Because you don't want that sticker shock at the end of the build with all these upgrades you did and it's 3 times the price that you figured on. And as you're going to see, a lot of the things I'm going to talk about as far as upgrades, things you want to look at, is going to be based around air and water tightness, more so than the flashy, shiny objects. We'll get into some of those, but a lot of it's going to be, for me, I'd rather have a house that's very airtight and watertight and comfortable. And the flashy things, as we'll talk about in the second video, you can deal with those at a different time. The other important thing you're going to want to know is how they're going to deal with the water. So when it rains, water's going to go down the side of that foundation and settle at the bottom. They got to have something. Is it a sump pump? Or they're going to have a French drain around that's going to funnel the water out to the sewer? Or they're going to have nothing but just heavy gravel bed and let the water just percolate out on its own and come down the road. You're going to have a basement that's wet. Other thing you want to know is what kind of waterproofing they're putting on the outside of your basement. Is it just going to be that black tarry stuff and that's it? Or are they going to do that plus put, say, like a dimple membrane with a fabric over it so that it channels the water straight down the wall, gets it to the French drain and out to the sewer as quick as possible? You know, some of those things you might want to think about. And definitely, again, they're going to be upgrades, unless that's just the builder that you have does that regardless and it's already priced into your package and good for you. Next thing you're going to want to know, and I don't know if there's a code for this. If there is, find out what it is. And that's tolerances for accuracy. How square is your foundation going to be? Is there a code that says it can't be out more than 1/4 inch? Okay, is that what he's going by, or is he going better? Is he not going at all? I mean, we've all probably heard horror stories of people who've had basements and foundations that poured. They're so out of square, and when they do the framing, some of the framing's hanging off the wall in order to make your house square. You don't want that. So ask, what kind of tolerances am I looking at? Do I get a 1/4 inch out of square? That's probably acceptable. 1/8 inch would be great. You're not going to get perfect, but 1/8 inch would be great. 1/4 inch? I would say great. If they're saying 1 inch, 2 inch, I'd definitely make that an upgrade if you could and get it tighter. How long after it's poured do they start building on it? You know, is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 days? Is it a month? That's important because you don't want to come by your house, the foundation's just been poured on, and you're monitoring it for the next 2 weeks, nobody's around, you think they abandoned it. No, it might be 2 weeks before they can start loading it with any kind of lumber and build on it to allow it to cure. So ask that question so you're not worried about them skipping town on you with a poured foundation and you got nothing else. And the other thing you want to ask about are the penetrations. You know, is there plumbing penetrating the wall? Is there electrical, cable, anything penetrating those walls, windows, doors? And if they are, that's fine. But what you need to ask is, how are they sealing it up? Because you don't want them just to drill a 4-inch hole and put a 3-inch pipe in it and leave it that way. And you don't want them just stuffing it with some insulation, calling it sealed either. Ask how they're going to seal those penetrations, especially around windows and doors. Again, you want air and water tight. So now let's go to a slab on grade type foundation. So here we're on a slab on grade, as you can see, and they've got plastic covering the dirt as the vapor barrier. Pretty common. I think plastic's fine. I wouldn't look to upgrade that to spray foam where I'm at here in Texas in climate zone 1. I don't think you need it. And some of the other climate zones, say 3, 4, where they do just a slab, maybe you do want an insulated slab, so you don't want that cold ground coming through your floor. If that is your case, ask, do they insulate it? If not, ask what it is. Can you get it? How much more? Because you definitely want your house to be comfortable. Like I've said many times before, where I'm at here in Texas, it's very, 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 very heavy clay-based, meaning it's just all clay, and it's horrible to deal with, as you'll later see. But because of that, the foundations like to settle and crack and split. And so what we do here, as you can see, we got these cables with these red sleeves over them running through this foundation, and they go across the top like this, and I'll show you there's some valleys down here, and they got the cable that runs down in through those. And so what they'll do is they'll pour all this, and then once it's cured, I don't know if it's 30 days, 60 days, they'll come back and take a machine and pull on these cables and basically compress this foundation. So now the concrete's in compression, and it's less likely to crack and settle and split as before when they didn't used to do that because of this heavy clay base. Because when it's dry like it is right now and this heat that we're experiencing, that clay shrinks a lot, and you get a lot of pull away from your foundation because of it. And if you don't have something to combat that, it will sink and crack it. And just like with the basement, the other thing you want to know is what are our tolerances for square? Again, you want as square as you can get. Is there code for it? Is there not code? Okay, if there's not code, the subcontractor you use to pour your foundation, how square do they make it? Are they known to make it 2 inches out of square? Are they known to be within a 1/4 inch? Again, I think 1/8 inch would be beautiful, but I think a 1/4 inch is definitely acceptable for out of square. Now, some of you might think you're crazy, you're silly, you're stupid. An inch is the standard. Well, if that's the standard, I would ask for better personally. Again, just like in the basement setting, penetrations. All these penetrations are coming up through the ground, so there'll be none through the walls hopefully, but there will be. But again, you want to know, how are they sealing these penetrations? In this case, you can see this black stuff. It looks like they put paint on some sort of black tarry stuff to help waterproof this and seal it to the vapor barrier where it goes in the ground. All this plumbing coming up through the ground is for electrical, water, and sewer, whereas in a basement, maybe it's coming through the wall. I don't know. Need to ask that. And we'll talk more later about penetrations through the wall and that and how to deal with that. And one final thing would be, is your slab poured as one whole slab and done? And what do I mean is if you're gonna have a patio, is the patio poured with the main slab? Is the garage floor poured with the main slab, or is that all poured separately? Personally, I like to see it poured all as one uniform pour. If these cables can go into it, that would be an even better thing. But if not, at least if it's a uniform pour, I like that better than a separate pour, because the separate pours to me tend to shift a lot more. Now, as you see, this foundation's all poured, but there's nobody doing anything. Now, I don't know if they poured this on Friday. You know, how long ago did they pour it, and how long is it gonna sit before they start building on it? You wanna know that. And one other thing I forgot to mention, and I don't know if they do it here, but ask, especially on your basements, is what's the reinforcement within there? Is there no reinforcement? Is it just concrete and that's it? I've told you we got cable here. Now, I don't know. They might come through and put wire mesh in here also after, just as they start to pour. I don't know, or it may just only be the cable and that's it. And as you can see here, we've got these straps for tie downs, hurricanes, you know, some of you are gonna be tornado strapping and things like that. What I don't see, and I don't know if that's what these replace, is I don't see bolts coming up through the foundation. Let's say in older construction that I've seen, they would have bolts that come through the foundation, drill holes in your bottom plate and bolt that down. And that may be what these are instead, is these strap it down instead of the bolts. And if that's code, so be it. So if you're planning on building or planning on buying a brand new home or in the process of building your new home, hope you found this video helpful. Maybe it was a little eye-opening to you, and hopefully it stopped and made you think about a few things, maybe even gave you some ideas about some things you might want in your new home. And if you've gone through the process of building a new home, or in the middle of doing it now, or have experienced anything with building your own brand new home, please let us know down in the comments any of your experiences you had, whether they're good or bad. We'd all love to hear them, and I'm sure many of us would benefit from them. Now, you're going to want to stick around, because the next video we're going to talk about many different aspects of the framing. You're not going to want to miss that. Now, if you want to watch a video where I toured some new homes being built and what I'm going to call mistakes that were made while they were building that new home, click on this link right here and it'll take you right to it. I think you'll be surprised at some of the things I found. So until next time, happy DIYing.